Well, I'm Teresa Moreira, the head of the Competition and Consumer Policies branch of UNCTAD, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, and I'm privileged to have the opportunity to interview two very experienced colleagues from competition authorities. So Dr. Mahmoud Montaz, the head of the Egyptian Competition Authority. Good morning, Mahmoud. Good to see you, even though only online. And Ms. Yalun Yang, Commissioner of the Taiwan Fair Trade Commission. So I would like to start with Mahmoud and ask him how has the Egyptian Competition Authority handled the challenges brought by the continuing cost of living crisis. So could you share with us what kind of actions, initiatives, decisions have you taken on this issue? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. It's a pleasure to be with you, and good morning to everyone, and thank you for having me. I wish to be there in person, but unfortunately it was not possible. So to get right away to your question, the ECA have worked in different modes. So first of all, we set priorities of 3 sectors, which are food, healthcare, and education. These are the main sectors that we focused on. Second, we focused on enforcement and equally focused on policy and advocacy and what we call competitive neutrality. Because in these times of crisis, a lot of governmental decisions also come into place, and that's why you should make sure that these governmental decisions will not distort the market on a medium and long term. And from that perspective, on the enforcement, we focused on monitoring markets, and here we established a new department which is called the Economic Intelligence Department, focuses on monitoring market and see what's happening in those markets. Also, we established another department which is the bid rigging department to make sure that the government spending is not kind of inflated also due to bid rigging practices or anti-competitive practices. And due to all of this, we've, since I think 2020 to 2023, we proven around 25 violations, anti-competitive violation, ranging from different bid rigging, abusive dominance, and so on. But there was a very interesting experience also in the cement sector, where we found out that there is a decrease in demand, and hence there is an oversupply in the market. And there was an exemption that had been requested by ECA to approve to decrease the quantities in the market. Of course, on the short term, we knew that this would increase prices for a certain bit, which is against consumer welfare. But what we also analyzed is how, on a medium and long term, this would enhance the market sustainability and contestability on that front. And so far, what we've viewed in these markets, that the market have sustained the number of players there. There have been increased in their capacities and capacity utilizations, and also a kind of new technologies were introduced to reduce cost and reduce environmental impact. So from our small experience, I think these are the main highlights, if I say, because I know we're tight on time. These are the main highlights that we looked into the different crises that we've been going through since 2020 until today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So let me just underline well, the food sector, something that we have just discussed. It will be a special project of the ICN, extremely important, of course, across the world, but in particular for developing countries. The competitive neutrality initiatives, which I think are quite interesting and really important for the region and for all your partners, and this interesting cement case. But now I would like to hear from Yalun, also from your experience in Taiwan. What can you tell us about your actions to harness, let's say, the negative impact of the cost of living crisis? Over to you.
Teresa, Mahmoud, ICN colleagues, Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to express my gratitude to the co-chairs of Cartel Working Group for inviting me to share Taiwan's experience in addressing concerted action and cartels. And Taiwan Fair Trade Commission, TFTC, has been dedicated to preventing price manipulation in the consumer goods market since its establishment. Even during crisis, TFTC only granted permits for a defined duration to concerted actions that ensure the supply or production of essential goods or medical supplies, benefiting both the overall economy and the public interest. Factors such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war since 2021 have driven up international raw material prices, impacting essential goods in Taiwan. TFTC actively investigates illegal concerted action to maintain market functioning and to protect consumer interests. For example, TFTC has taken action against cases involving the joint price increases of dry scallop producers and joint reduction of the warranty period by domestic air conditioner companies. However, TFTC consistently faced challenges in identifying and proving collusion among enterprises. The Fair Trade Act, FTA, in Taiwan follows an administrative sanction preceding criminal penalty systems. This means that judicial authority can sanction criminal liability on natural persons only after TFTC imposes administrative penalties on non-compliant enterprises. Furthermore, in Taiwan, only the prosecutorial authority has a mandate to conduct down rates. Therefore, it's a challenge for TFTC to collect evidence of illegal concerted actions. In view of this, the FTA introduced the leniency program in 2011, but the number of cases applying the leniency program has been limited. Consequently, TFTC implemented the whistleblower rewards rule in 2015. Whistleblowers can receive rewards of up to approximately USD 3.08 million. The number of cases resulting from the whistleblower rewards rule has now surpassed those under the leniency program. On the other hand, e-commerce and digital platforms have become vital channels for Taiwanese consumers to access daily necessities or service. Hence, TFTC is also aware of enterprises possibly using pricing or other algorithms to monitor and coordinate with competitors. This presents a significant difficulty in substantiating agreement or conclusion. Moreover, the FTA targets horizontal concerted actions. This approach potentially leaves regulatory gaps when addressing hub-and-spoke cartels that use algorithms for coordination. TFTC is taking steps to enhance its market research and industry studies and collaborating with external technical experts. Additionally, TFTC is planning to amend the FTA to incorporate hub-and-spoke cartels into the provisions and bolster TFTC's investigation power. In conclusion, I appreciate the opportunity to share TFTC's experience in addressing cartel enforcement amid the challenges posed by the turbulent global economic landscape and the technological advancement. Thank you.
Thank you. Also interesting to hear about your action in what concerns, let's say, disruptive and anti-competitive practices in regarding key consumer goods, the interesting leniency developments, and what you mentioned about the digital platforms. Well, unfortunately, we don't have much time, but I would very much like to hear you also on takeaways to share with our colleagues present in the room. So what recommendations, suggestions could you share that you think you are able to elaborate due to the experience of addressing the cost of living crisis, competition concerns during the last 3 years?
Thank you. Taiwan initiated deregulation in the 1990s, especially in terms of price control across different industries. The FTA explicitly prioritized competition law for business activities. aligning with international enforcement trends and recommendation or report from international organizations like ICN. This influences our cartel enforcement approach. Except for specific FTA exemptions during crisis, TFTC maintains an unwavering commitment to combat illegal concerted actions. Neither does TFTC permit concerted action solely based on economic downturns, nor endorse long-term price controls. TFTC takes various measures, including higher fines, leniency program, and the whistleblower rewards rule. Additionally, we are considering FTA amendments to enhance enforcement tools and improve investigation against illegal concerted actions. Based on our experience, we recommend prioritizing competition laws and fortifying enforcement capability to address technological changes and evolving business models. Thank you.
Thank you. Clearly, we have been observing a number of legislative amendments and adjustments, namely because of the challenges brought by digital ecosystems. But also, I think it was interesting to hear about the, let's say, the renewed use of some of the existing tools like the market studies and inquiries. Thank you very much. Mahmoud, what about you? What could you share with us that you believe was, let's say, the findings, the conclusions of the experience of addressing the cost of living crisis, competition concerns in the last 3 years? Please.
I think there is one thing is basically focusing on the prioritized sectors by putting in place the right people. When I talk about the Economic Intelligence Department, for example, the usual thinking was economists, lawyers. Now data scientists also are very helpful in how to dig into these numbers and to analyze these factors. So what I would say is, to be more dynamic as an agency, be more flexible, sometimes stretch your mandate to advise others on competition policy matters in government. This is very helpful at the time of crisis because I think cooperation either internally within the government or internationally, when I would say the Arab Competition Network, for example, is a very useful tool between Arab countries, and also now the African Competition Heads Dialogue on the digital market. Also, it's a very interesting initiative that both of them also helps us to understand prices not only in our national markets, but also to compare these prices with other markets to understand how companies which are the same or similar companies across the region are pricing their products. This will give us a very, I would say, informed decision-making that we can analyze. And that's why I believe focusing on competition policy, focusing on market monitoring, and at the end, starting your investigation based on these information produced from these departments were a key for our, I would say, success in this period. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, I retain what you mentioned about, well, promoting further agency effectiveness, which I think is very much at the core of the work of ICN. Also, the relevance of competition advocacy, something that has been discussed in different sessions throughout the conference, and of course the flexibility that is needed when you cooperate with other bodies, other stakeholders. And finally, thank you for mentioning, of course, regional cooperation. That is also very much at the core of UNCTAD's work. And I think here we have been hearing a lot, namely about the cooperation within the African continent and, of course, between other regions across the world. Well, our time has come to an end. I would like to thank you very much. So thanks to Yalyun Len and Mahmoud Montaz. I've been privileged to interview them in this very short period of time. And stay tuned for further developments. Thank you.